I'm sure a lot of you, when you heard Tracy's story, you connected with that. There was something you could relate to parts of that. So my story starts back to about 2 weeks ago, before today, 2 years ago. We were talking about that earlier. It took me 2 weeks to decide to do this. So people do jump on. So I owned a boutique here in Tyler at the time. And I just wanted to have more freedom of time, and I thought that a boutique, owning my own store, was going to do that. I thought I was going to have all this time and all this money. Has anybody in here owned their own business before? So you don't really make that much money right at first. So I was in that process of that and started to realize that this is going to take longer than I thought. So Tracy walks in my store one day with a Blitz card and a wrap and asked me if I've ever heard of the skinny wrap. And I liked her right away, and so I gave her my attention and thought, no, what is this? So she told me about it, and so I decided to buy one. So I handed her $25, and she handed me a skinny wrap. So I went home, applied the wrap. Eric was working, didn't even know anything about it. So I used this wrap, had great measurable results. I did everything she told me to do, and drank my water, and did all this stuff. And immediately I thought, oh my gosh, this worked. So I call my mom. How many of you call your mom or your best friend when something cool happens to you like that, right? So I call my mom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had something happen to my tummy, and all I did was wear this product for 45 minutes, and OMG, it works. And she said, give me some of that. So I said, okay. So I called Tracy, hey girl, can I have 2 more of those skinny wraps? I like that thing, my mom wants one. So she said, yeah. So she comes to my store the next day, and I hand her $50. Are y'all seeing the pattern here? And she hands me 2 skinny wraps. So this whole time I'm thinking, there's something wrong here. Because I'm like owning my own business. I want people to give me money. I'm like handing her money. And then I started thinking, she had told me about this girl, this lady, her friend, that owned a boutique like me and sold it in her store. I thought, okay. So when I used the wrap, I thought, you know what? I called my mom right away. So if I sell these in my store, what are people going to do? They're going to use the product, they're going to love it like I did, and they're going to call everybody they know in Tyler and tell them where they can buy one too. And then all these droves of women are going to come crashing through the door of my store. And they're all going to buy my clothes out. I'm just envisioning it's like a madhouse in my store, right? And all these women are just the racks of clothes are gone. It is done. I am rich because this skinny wrap has brought every woman in Tyler into my store, and they've all bought all the clothes in my store. So this is my whole thinking. I want free word of mouth advertising, and I want foot traffic into my store. That's all I cared about. I didn't really care about a skinny wrap. I had no clue. I told Tracy, I'm not doing that loyal customer thing. I don't want to sign distributors. I don't know what that is, but I'm not doing that. Because I have a brick and mortar store, and I'm going to be rich selling clothes to everybody in Tyler. So I had it all visioned. So then she put me on this Facebook group. Are y'all in any of those secret Facebook groups? So I didn't know what that was at the time. Now I'm on like 100 of them. So I didn't know, and so I see this post come across my Facebook, and it says, hey team, I'm looking for a place to have our first team meeting. I'm pretending I'm her. And I will let you know, we're going to have it on Tuesday night, And she said, I'll let you know where it is. And I think, I think I might let her have it at my store so all these women come into my store and see all about my store and buy all these clothes. I'm like, seriously, this is really what I'm thinking. Y'all think I'm joking, I'm serious. So I text Tracy, hey Tracy, this is Rebecca, because we really didn't know each other that well at the time. And I said, you can have your meeting at my store if you want. And she said, great. So Tuesday night rolls around, and 5 women show up in my store. There were 5 people on our team at the time. And I sit there with my arms crossed and my little attitude of, I'm never doing this is a waste of time, I'm not doing that whole network marketing thing.
I remember you were snooping.
I was snooping. I think Brian was at the meeting.
I'm just kidding.
I would believe you.
Cassie was on the phone.
Cassie was on the phone. So I had my arms crossed and I thought, nah, I'm not doing this. But then she starts hearing this. She starts talking about what this was all about, kind of explaining it. Okay. that makes sense. And then she pulls out her phone, her cell phone, and we have a conference call. I didn't know what those were at the time either. And now here this voice comes through this phone, and it's Ashley Sinclair's voice. Remember, I'd met her through Tracy a little bit. She had told me about this girl who sold skinny wraps in her store. So I hear her voice, and her voice talks about how she sold it in her store, and then I hear this voice, and she says something about $10,000 a month. And all of a sudden, I could find a connection that somebody who owned a store like me could make money at this and change their life, because I was not changing my life with owning a store. All I had was more debt. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get started. I'm going to do this. So if I could just make $500 a month, because I had this thing I wanted really bad. We lived in a rent house in Lindale. We had paid for a store. We had all this credit card debt, and my husband worked all the time. 80 hours a week, nights and days, we never saw him. And I wanted this thing so bad I could visualize it. I wanted to own our very own home in Lindale. But I didn't want just any house. I wanted to live in a neighborhood where people put up Christmas lights and took pride in their home. I wanted a house where all the neighborhood kids were out on Halloween trick-or-treating together. I wanted a neighborhood where your friends had block parties and they invited you. That's what I wanted for my kids. I wanted to live in a place that we could leave the door open and you wouldn't worry kids coming in, slamming doors in and out because all the neighborhood kids played together. That's what I wanted. So I got to work and I thought, okay, if I can make $500 extra a month, I can do that by about 18 months. I could probably save up enough. So we started in January 31st, 2 years ago. By June, I wrote a check for $12,000 for a down payment on our house. By June. Then I thought, okay, I can do this. If I can do that, maybe I can help Eric pay all that credit card debt off. You know, that debt that weighs on you that you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about and not sure how you're ever going to get over it, how you're ever going to get ahead because you're doing everything you can. That's how I felt, and that's how we felt. So I got too busy for that, and by February of 2013, I paid off all of our credit card debt and all of our student loans just with It Works money alone. That's it. It's about $70,000 in debt. And then I thought, okay, if I can do that, just maybe, if I work hard enough and I reach a level that will pay it, maybe I can help Eric bring him home where he doesn't have to work that 80-hour-a-week job anymore. Where he can be home and he can go on field trips and he doesn't walk around fatigued, and I call him the zombie. That's why I used to call him. He walked around like a zombie all the time. He was so tired. Could I do that? Could I work hard enough to bring him home and we could do this together? And we did that June of 2013. So Eric now works this business with me right along with the Dixons, and we get it done. So that's my story, and my story's not over because we're dreaming now bigger than we ever thought possible. But all I wanted was to make $500. Most people join network marketing because they know that $500 will change their life. It will pay their card payment. It will get them in a different home. It will get their kids involved in things and keep their kids involved in things that they can't afford right now. So $500 changes people's life, and most people join for that. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So I think we got to hear from the guys. This is my husband, Eric. He's going to come up and tell you, I'm not sure what. So everybody hold on. So Ryan and Eric are going to tell us a little bit about their thoughts and their journey with It Works, because it's evolved and changed, and their story's different than ours. So Ryan Dixon, Eric Renfrow.
Okay, I need a wingman here.